There we go. Okay, so I guess now we're live. No, do you know why I do that? You know why I do the whole clapping thing once in a while?
To make sure it's recording?
No. Okay, you know in movies they use that big square thing that clicks down?
Yeah.
You go, and action, click. The click, the sound of the click and the thing closing is meant to synchronize the audio that they're recording separately from the video, because in professional movies they record audio and video separately. So it's to make it easier for people to sync it up. You're like, yep, at this point the loud click happens and it closes, and then you can sync up the rest of the show much easier.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So since I'm taking video from one place and audio from a different, I also go to synchronize my audio and video. Yes, that's exactly what it.
Okay.
I'm totally not just being weird at all. Okay, so today we're drinking gossip.
Sounds girly.
Maybe because we'll be gossiping. I don't know.
Are we going to be gossiping? Is gossiping okay?
Is gossiping okay?
I think it is.
Ask the girl who watches Gossip Girl.
I love it. Although the show ended it really badly. For any fans, like Diane was Gossip Girl the whole time. It makes no sense.
Why do I keep fucking this up every time?
Baby.
Every time.
You're spilling everywhere.
It's okay. I learned my lesson from last time, and I brought a cloth.
Oh.
Ta-da! Here it is. This will work out like a real, like a real bar one day. Okay.
I don't know. I think there's like evolutionary reasons behind gossiping. Spread of information, probably for the most part, but
gossiping. Well, it's important to know what's happening with your neighbors, right? Because these people live with you, and as much as you hate to think about it that way, you need to know what the fuck's going on in their households. Because
well, that was in an age where number one, people didn't post absolutely everything that they did online, and also like when people knew who their neighbors were.
Well, don't we want to advocate for that? No, don't
knowing thy neighbor.
Knowing thy neighbor.
What's the point? Why do you need to know your neighbor? What benefit of knowing your neighbor is there? Except for like if your house gets broken into and then,
gossip.
Okay.
No. Obviously, that's the best thing, isn't it? For you to know who your neighbors are. So when your house is getting broken into, your neighbors absolutely know that it's not you taking all of your stuff out of your house.
Oh, I forgot to get the pillow.
Oh no. Well,
with the next beer, I guess.
Next beer.
Did the heater go off?
The heater went off, and then it stopped, and then it came back on again, and then it stopped. Anyway, let's try this. Let's see what this is. This was shipped to me, brought to me by.
Smells good.
This was brought to me by My Name Is Arky. That's his handle on Instagram. He has a beerstagram, as he refers to it as. And me and him exchange beers from one end of the country to the other.
It's okay.
No comment? It's a little bit juicy. Not as strong as most of the other ones. Still smooth, no hops bite.
A little bit of a bite.
Yeah, but it's so small compared to the other stuff we've been drinking lately.
No. I'll get you more of the filibuster. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drink that.
It wasn't ready yet. But we'll buy more filibuster. Don't worry. There's lots at the store.
Yeah.
I am just really happy you didn't drink my paper salesman.
No, I said I when you asked me to leave something for you, I'll leave them for you. I didn't know. I thought I was under the impression that it was okay. Anyway.
So beer exchange and gossip.
Yeah, but gossip is the difference, like, about spreading of information. It has a negative connotation because it's like talking shit about people or judging them for the decisions that they make without knowing the real, like, circumstances.
So would it change everything if you actually knew the circumstances and then told people about the circumstances you knew about?
Well, still... Yeah, no, that's still gossiping even when you know this. Because you can't really fully ever know what someone's going through. But it's like me telling, like, for example, saying, hey, John and Mary got married. that's not gossip. But like, I can't believe John married Mary. I should have picked a different name. He like was always looking at other girls and blah blah blah, and never paying enough attention to her. She's so dumb. She's just settling. Like, that's gossip. A is information. B is adding all of this.
Okay, so when you sit down to talk to other people about what other people are doing, and then put your own ideological leanings onto it, that's gossip. Without the ideological leanings, it's just information.
Not ideological. Why is it ideological?
Well,
it's
when
just
you're
your
saying,
own...
I can't believe that Mary married John, who was a player, that's you literally suggesting... That's you suggesting that the player is not something
whatever.
you
Your
ideologically
own
approve
negative
of.
opinions.
There's nothing to be negative. You can say,
Well,
oh my
no,
God,
'cause
did you
it's
hear? They won $1 million and they're going to be rich and they're going to be fantastic.
That's
Because
not
you-
gossip.
Yes, it
Gossip
is.
has to have a negative connotation.
No,
You
it
have to
doesn't.
be saying, if you're saying good things about someone, no one's going to care.
I think I can. No.
Like,
maybe.
if you're going on about how great John and Mary are, that's not gossip. Be like, they're amazing, I love them, they're the best, they have such a good relationship. That's not gossip.
Is
that's
that
just
bragging? What is that called then?
There is no word for that because people talk shit. They don't like to say nice things about other people.
Well, maybe we should start saying nice things about other people.
We should invent the opposite of gossip. A word for goosap.
Goosap?
Apsip. And then it talks about saying how good things about other people, about how great they are.
No. Do we never say anything positive about people?
No, I just had a fight with you guys on Discord about the fact that you guys, if someone expresses a bad idea, need to like rip into them and make them doubt their like existence of being because they dared to ever be guilty of some sort of wrong thing. And then you guys are like, well, how will someone learn? And I'm like, that's not how everybody learns.
That's not
Maybe
how
that's
everybody learns.
you learn. Maybe you like to be put to shame and made you feel horrible about yourself for thinking something. But other people aren't like that.
And then, at the end of the day, I rethink my position.
But there are other ways to get people to rethink your position without destroying them as a person and as an individual.
When you're talking about the fundamentals of society...
You used to say destroying their dominant paradigm. Remember when we got together? That was like your thing.
During my liberal days, that's what it was all about. It was about destroying people's dominant paradigm. But I also claimed that where do I stand differently from most people is I have multiple. I can see things from different people's perspective. I even made a joke about it. The multi-dominant paradigm... what do I call it? The multi-dominant paradigm disorder.
Just making up your own ideology, your own philosophy, your own religion.
It's not a philosophy. I can't possibly be a philosopher.
Guys,
I don't have anything new to say.
He wants a cult. I'm just saying, people out
Don't
there.
tell people. It's a cult revolving around beer and the enjoyment of beer.
That's called a hobby, not a cult.
There you go, guys. It's just a hobby. It's just a hobby.
I'm just saying, you guys attack, and the anti-skeptic critic side just likes to attack and criticize and poke holes and whatever.
But that's all we know. That's literally all we know. I've had several discussions about this in the Discord where we were taught critical theory. That's all we were ever taught. When you go to university, you're not taught to solve problems. You're just taught to poke holes in things. Why do you have to write a dissertation and then defend it? Because a bunch of other critics sit around and criticize it. They don't have anything positive to add to it, nor will they ever help you add anything positive to it.
That's actually really important part
Maybe
of
to the
making your
person
study work.
who's actually working, who you're working with. Maybe the person the person you're doing your PhD with. Right?
Yeah.
Is he not supposed to be helping you develop your theory and helping you progress it?
Yeah.
So he's the one person in life that you're supposed to rely on to actually help you with things. Everyone else is just there to rip it apart.
Yeah, but you need that ripping it apart to make sure that what you're going to do is work. When you're talking about conducting a research experiment involving human beings and or animal subjects, whatever.
We haven't done a real human experiment since Hitler.
Yeah, like what is going to trial? It's poking holes in each other's arguments.
Yes.
It's often just only poking holes. There's barely ever making an argument. It's just make the other person make their story not fit. Don't provide your own story.
Are we talking about legal cases now, or are we talking?
Yeah, even in court cases. But anyways, outside of that, I'm just
Well, hold on,
saying,
hold on. At
when
least-
maybe liberals and women and feminists wanted a safe space because you guys are yelling all the time. And if for people who are about freedom of expression, and I'm guilty of this too, I'm just saying, but people who are about freedom of speech and freedom of expression, it's like you're sitting, like, they're like...
No, see, you said freedom of expression. You said freedom of expression. There's no freedom of expression. There's freedom of speech.
Okay, fine.
Okay, and
Whatever.
everyone's
To me, they're
entitled
the
to
same
freedom
thing.
of speech.
Okay, well, freedom to use your verbal words to express yourself.
Okay. Literally, someone came into the Discord and autistically screeched and fucking whatever, made weird noises into a microphone. That's the freedom of expression. That's not real words. It's not real anything. That's just a freedom of expression. And he's free to do that, but then I'm also free to mute him because he's not making a point. Although he may claim he might be making a point in bird language.
Okay, but also to be advocate for freedom of speech is also allowing the people the opportunity to make their speech before ripping it apart.
Right, you can make your speech, but are you gonna stay? Are you gonna stay and listen to the critical theory about why it won't work?
And I'm not saying don't ever be critical.
A lot of the reason it devolves into a lot of arguing and yelling is because we devolve to the very fundamental nature of where the liberal argument comes from. Okay, so it's we need to socialize all healthcare, and we go no. Well, I want an opt-out option. We do not need to socialize all healthcare for all the poor people. We just need to socialize some healthcare for those poor people. And then we get into the topic of where you're going to get the money if I, the healthy individual, would like to opt out towards my own private insurance.
See,
So-
my first question would be why
Why what?
should we and how before saying no, we shouldn't.
There's no why. There's no why. You can't because the why will all inevitably lead to because the poors who can't afford it.
Poor John and Mary.
Poor John and Mary who literally can't afford it. And it's a very nice emotional incentive to give people the healthcare that they need so they don't die in the streets. But as I've said several times this week, why am I
Do you
paying?
hear music?
No, it's literally the headphones over there monitoring what we're saying.
Okay. For a second, I thought I was hallucinating or that the music was playing upstairs.
No, it's just a slight delayed echo from what we're saying through my
Okay.
headphones.
Okay. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Why am I paying for government housing for other people's homes when I can't afford my own? Why?
I agree.
That's right. Most people will agree to that. If I'm going to get sick, I'm going to need some real medical care. If and when I might potentially lose an arm. But like I can also pay into my own insurance. And I don't need the government's insurance because I am working well. And healthily to a certain degree.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't care. I'm not ready for the healthcare talk tonight.
All right, we can go through the education talk, where we're talking about healthcare and how health is very very important. But then schools are literally destigmatizing mental healthcare. Mental disorders, the mental diseases, and trying to make them more normal instead of treating them.
No, it's to normalize them so that they can get treated.
See, I don't see that. I don't think they should be normalized.
Because most people struggle through most of these things because
But
life
imagine
is hard.
if they
and-
struggled less by going to the doctor instead of being told by everyone around them that it's okay, everyone's got that disease.
No,
I mean-
it's just that these are not that everyone has the same diseases, but
I'm literally hearing people go, "Oh, it's okay. This disease is just on a sliding scale. Everyone's got some varying degree of it."
actually doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists are resistant to actually diagnose people with anything because that label is bad because of this. So they say that they have symptoms of certain things, but they won't actually put it on paper to say you have X or you have Y or you are this.
Then how's anyone supposed to get treated if doctors aren't willing to let you know what you need to be treated for?
Because you're suffering from symptoms of depression. It's not like you are depressed forever. This is something that's happening, and there's ways to be treated. And most people go through some form of depression
Right.
in their life.
But to get through the depression, most of the time they either prescribe medication, pills, or what do they prescribe?
That's not psychology. That's psychiatry and
Okay, so
physicians who are doing that.
Psychiatry, but right. But how are people not dealing with it through psychology? Why is the government not paying doctors to sit down and talk to people?
Because that's expensive. It's too expensive.
It's too expensive to let
Because
people.
psychologists are charging $180 an hour.
Well, maybe the liberals don't have a point then, do they? You can't literally tell everyone that everyone's out to get you and then give you nobody to ever talk to about your problems.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's why they're crying on the floor. Because all of these problems are things that you can work towards to get through. This is why SJWs need cognitive behavioral therapy, because they need to be taught that the way that they're thinking is wrong, and that they're seeing the world negatively and focusing on all of the horrible things in the world rather than seeing the good in people and good in the world.
They're Marxist. That's literally what they're supposed to do. They look through the world. We started there, through a critical lens. All you're taught to do in school is look through the world through a critical lens and never come up with any ideas or solutions on your own. And then you live your entire life, living your life through a critical lens where everything needs to be criticized all the time, continuously and forever. And then you wonder why depression is skyrocketing ever since the invention of critical theory in psychology. In schools back in the 50s,
You
40s?
will never have any psychologist saying that the way to deal with your problems is to avoid them. And that's essentially what trigger warnings and safe spaces and SJW campuses are pretty much becoming, because that's a place to go and avoid your problem. Psychology says, no, you have to work through it and deal with it.
So is Scientology.
Okay. None of mental health care is supposed to be about avoidance. It's supposed to be about teaching resilience and ability to work through. Some people naturally are able to do it. Other people need a bit more help.
Yes, they do. It's just
Like, for example,
too bad the government isn't willing to fund anything outside of pills.
well, I mean, it's the cheapest, most effective method.
Is it?
Kind of. It puts a band-aid. It doesn't help the underlying issue, but it keeps people going.
Imagine if you didn't baby people and actually told them that they're depressed because they have a real reason to be depressed. If they're pieces of shit who are sitting at home, not working and not doing anything, gaining weight, and then fucking doing nothing about it but complaining and telling people that they're oppressed. How's that not a mental disorder?
But also, I think like the reason for collective depression going up is a little bit of that kind of mentality, especially in millennials, where you're talking about kids who are sitting at home after college and living in their parents, the deplorables, as Hillary Clinton liked to point out.
That's
the basement-dwelling millennials.
Oh, right. The basement-dwelling millennials.
Yeah.
Those are the deplorables. Absolutely trumps people.
But honestly, like, for me, I think it's some of, like, the date. Like, for example, how much life is easier right now in Ottawa in the sense of, like, the daily bullshit that you don't have to deal with, like, on the busy subways and construction and traffic. And I think those kinds of things, like this industrial city lifestyle that's so chaotic and people are always just forced together and there's delays and frustrations and going to the bank ends up taking 7 hours. Like, all of this stuff, like, just these things are what's getting to people. Like, sitting in traffic for 2 hours of your day can't be good for your mental health. Like, can't be good for, you know, anxiety or anger or rage. And if you do have some sort of issue going in your life, like your wife is leaving you and you're sitting in your car every day 2 hours in traffic thinking about that, you can spiral into a depression a lot easier.
Well, you should be in a depression if your wife is leaving you. Maybe you can use that time to actually reflect and look within you to see why your life is leaving you.
Eugene K., I'm just saying the busyness and chaos of everyday life is also contributing to the ongoing anxiety and depression that is increasing amongst the general population. And pills, for now, seem to, like, get people to not freak out and beat the shit out of the guy who's almost, you know, cutting them off. Because, like, in Iran, that's how angry people are, that if you cut him off, the guy will chase you down and kill you.
Yep. That does happen. That happens in Russia too. Guys just get freaked out, get pissed off, and someone shoots someone else or runs them off the road. That's not necessarily the type of society I want to live in.
Or, I don't know, like snapping and taking a baseball bat to the cashier that's stupid and doesn't know how to fucking do her job, who takes like 7 hours. Or the person who hasn't learned English, so you can't understand what the fuck they're saying on the phone. Like, that person. Like, you're not wanting to murder that person.
I am personally upset about the fact that I'm going to the grocery store and when we buy beer, we have to stand in a special line. A very special line where people are willing to touch pork and alcohol. Because now we have a bunch of new immigrants that aren't willing to touch alcohol, and therefore, every time we go to the Loblaws now.
No, I don't think that's the reason.
Last time we were there, I checked. You bought all those new beers. There was one guy who was too young to serve alcohol, and a bunch of other people wearing hijabs who are not willing to touch alcohol.
That's dumb.
Yeah. So they're coming to our society and are literally unable to do the jobs because of their religious... look, this is what you have to deal with now. They go, excuse me, I don't want to touch alcohol. I don't want to touch pork.
Why do you drink it so fast?
Why do you take it so slow?
Because I'm enjoying the beer.
Okay.
It's not medicine.
Too. It is for me. We all medicate in different ways. I have a beer or two once in a while. Sometimes a night. Sometimes not. Plus, I'm just having fun, shooting the shit. Talking shit about the weird Muslims that don't want to serve canned beer.
But now you're like ready for the next one and I still don't want to rush.
I'll drink that one.
I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
Why are you pressuring me?
No, peer pressure.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, I guess you'll just have to wait now.
I'm just gonna sit here and stare at you while you slowly drink your beer.
No.
Just slowly drink your beer.
That's awkward.
What's awkward?
Don't pressure me. Anyways, what were we saying?
We were saying that people
the day-to-day
sometimes
struggles.
deserve to be depressed because they're not good people.
That is not any. That's what you've said. You didn't say and listen to any of what I said.
That you said sometimes pills are the answer temporarily.
No, I didn't say they're the answer. I said they work.
They work, so they're the answer temporarily.
So that people don't snap and kill the bus driver.
or the person who's refusing to serve you, to literally put your the person who's literally refusing to put your fucking canned beer from the position it's in to a fucking plastic bag. While you were standing there for fucking 20 minutes in line while some other person decided to count the change in their pocket and go through every coupon they had.
It's okay. There's automated self-checkouts now anyways, and robots will replace
people.
And yeah.
It's a lot easier to program a robot to explode in public than it is to convince a person to do it, but...
You think there'll be like robot suicide bombers?
That's one of the first things we invented. Just drones that fly into things and explode. Like how they're called missiles, baby. They're called missiles.
Okay, fine, whatever. Anyway, see, it always goes back to destruction and destroying in the negative.
I'm sorry, that's a critical
Maybe
critical theory
you're just
lens.
like the SJWs.
I am just like the SJWs. I had their training. I went through their indoctrination program.
You think that the world is out to get you? And
no,
then,
I don't think the world's out to get me.
Well, that's what they think.
They are stupid.
Which is a symptom
And
of
most of the time- And most of the time, it's not even them.
Schizoaffective disorder.
They even think that the world is out to get other people.
Except the white men.
Except the white man, who
apparently they are out to get. To balance, to reinstate the balance of the world.
So their psychological delusions are being manifest, and they're creating entire movements and parades and whatever the hell else to instill their ideology that the white man are out to get everybody, and therefore they should be out to get the white man. The white rich man, the only people in society that have money, don't get rid of those people, kill them all. Because they don't pay enough taxes. And when you kill them, there'll be all the taxes left for everyone to... Wait, what? No, that doesn't work. How does this work again? You get rid of all the rich people, so that everyone can pay... No, no one wants to pay taxes. And most liberals don't pay taxes anyway because they don't work. So where's the utopia coming from?
That's not true. Most like doctors and... Most people are liberal in like Ontario.
Yeah, but it's like liberal.
Except if you're a liberal unless you own a business.
Yeah, once you
They're
know
the
what
only
it's,
ones.
that's right. Once you know what it's like to hire and manage people, you're like, I literally don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore because I literally gave these people money to work for me per hour, what they agreed to, and what they agreed to do, they're not doing. They can't even follow a basic social contract, like do the work during work hours.
Yeah.
And then why would you want to give people your hard-earned money? Again, I will repeat my same point. I sweat, fucking cry, and bleed for my work. Blood gets all over the place. Most of my work stuff is covered in blood. I may have a bleeding disorder, by the way. But like I literally bleed and sweat for my job. It takes all my time, it takes all my effort, it takes a lot of my pride, it takes my blood and sweat, and at the end of the day, I have to give like 30% of it to the government so they can redistribute it to somebody else because apparently somebody else is entitled to my blood. And then the fucking blood drive keeps sending me fucking things actually demanding my blood. Why am I giving them my blood too?
I'm not a fan of income taxes. I'm not even a fan of sales taxes. I think there should just be a flat tax, like 10% all around, and that's the only tax, and the government works with that.
You're gonna get assassinated for that kind of mentality. The government gets a flat tax. Where is the government going to find all the new money to hire all the new people and all the new departments they have to come up with to regulate this new tax?
All that shit would be lost.
Yeah, the massive amount of bureaucracy they'll have to do just to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember when they combined the two taxes that we have, the services tax and the goods tax or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, don't worry, we'll combine them. We'll combine the 7% tax.
Right now it's double taxation. I totally agree.
That's a totally different thing. The fact that the company you work for is getting taxed, and then you're getting taxed, so that's double taxation on a single income. And then whenever you try to spend your money, it also gets taxed.
And whenever you try to transfer your money, and whenever you try to use your money, and whenever you try to look at your money,
yeah, as long as you look at your money, the government's like, okay, so now I need $1 of that. Because you checked your bank account.
I mean, the credit card companies also do that. Like they have interest.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Credit cards gave you a deal. They said, you want it, we'll let you borrow our money. Yeah, and if you so chose to borrow the money, you can borrow our money. You don't have to. No one's going to twist your arm to force you. Like, you can cut up your credit cards tomorrow as long as they're paid off, and they'll be like, sorry, okay, we're sorry. Maybe we'll give you a better deal next time. The government's going, no, we're going to take away your house, your kids, your wife, your retirement fund, everything. If you don't give me. Well,
yeah, that's what happened. Well, that's what they said was going to happen to me if I failed to pay my income taxes. That all your assets. I don't know what actually happens.
They take your car, they take your kids, they take your wife, they take everything. And then they shame you in public. They take your wife. Look, women and money are intrinsically connected. If I don't have money or a house or a car, where the fuck am I going to do with my dog? I'm going to give it up. Someone's going to have to kill it. The humane society is going to humanely kill my dog. Fuck.
Anyway. I don't know how we got about taxes.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying most people are liberal, though. Although most people agree that there should be less taxes, even.
Yes, most people are very liberal in the sense that you go, the poor people, the poors. We need to give them more money so they can get better. And they go, okay, I'm 100% down to help poor people get not poor. And then you find out where the money's going, and you're like,
the pockets of the rich people.
Sure, the pockets of the rich people, and the rest of it is going to India and China. And I ask, why
are the ultimate poor
is
people.
the money I'm paying to help the poor, impoverished fucking poors of Canada going to India and China?
No, they mean the poor, impoverished of the world, not Canada.
I live in Canada.
You're true liberal. You care about making the world.
My taxes are Canadian taxes.
But
I pay. No.
As a citizen of the planet, you have to do your contribution.
When there is a one world united front, the new world, maybe a new world order, one new world government, maybe a new religion, then we can all pay in equally into helping all the poor people around the world. But right now, we're segregated into certain societies where we'd like to stay. Because I did not come to Afghanistan or China or India or Russia. I left Russia to come live in Canada. Now, I pay taxes in Canada and my money goes to China. That doesn't make any sense. I don't like buying Chinese products because they're shit. The Chinese government doesn't even have fucking human rights. Why is my tax money going to fund a Chinese government that literally doesn't have human rights? That is fundamentally not liberal in any perspective. The Chinese government literally censors their internet. They murder people in the streets. They have the biggest, most grossest black market organ fucking scandal going on. The Chinese government is literally kidnapping people off the streets and removing their organs to give it to themselves. There's little
Asian women in downtown Toronto. Were you there? You weren't there. We went to when we were going to Center Island one day, and this little Asian woman, and she couldn't speak English, but she was getting people to sign to urge the Canadian government to acknowledge the fact that the Chinese government is actively like doing these organs,
kidnapping people off the streets, removing their organs and implanting them into the rich and powerful. Now, Alex Jones isn't as crazy as you think he is.
I never thought he was.
A lot of people do. I know. But also, I since we're on the topic of gossip, let's talk about the Prince Harry marrying the half black American.
Why?
Because I wanted to make a joke, and I've been wanting to make this joke for a while. I saw this meme out there where it's like, aha, the British played the long game. Now he's gonna get married, and now he's gonna marry an American.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah. And now when they have a kid, their kid could run for president, and it'll be like, haha, the British can get America back again. But joke's on them, because that's not how America works. America works on a two-term system alone. Now, what they didn't realize is now they're going to have an American who's British royal family who can take over the throne permanently. That's the long game.
Oh, so this is America's attempt? Meghan Markle, the girl from Suits,
is now going to give birth to the next
annoying as fuck
the
character.
next British monarch will be American.
A half black.
Black American.
No, well, it'll be technically a quarter black.
It doesn't matter. He's half American, which means he's already half better than most of the other royal families out there.
Why are you sucking America's dick so much?
Because I live under the Queen and I know what it's like to get shafted. And the Queen is doing nothing for me. What is she doing for me? Literally today, over the past week, we've been discussing how America is slowly deciding to pull out of funding and literally paying British's debt for NATO. Like, there's so many countries in the UN, EU, who are literally not paying their fair share of their parts into NATO to do their bullshit, to literally be protected, to the UN, to do like a lot of things. They have this false sense of security where America's gonna sit there and fucking pay all their bills and fund all the militaries.
Isn't America in debt? I don't understand. So these countries are just all in debt to each other endlessly?
No, they're just not paying their fair share of the bill. They signed a contract agreeing to pay the bill. Here's how much money they owe. It's a percentage of their total GDP.
Who do they owe it to? Each other?
To the organization.
Or the IMF?
To the organization. There's an organization that takes all the money, and then in there they train soldiers and build weapons and buy weapons and station them all over the world, probably around Russia. And now that they're positioning around Russia, a lot of countries are being like, we don't really have the money for it. Like Britain, for example, doesn't have the money for it. They've stopped paying for a while now. And America's being like, okay, you guys realize that we've been paying your bill? This is why Trump is great. Because the British people are like, fuck Trump, not my president. Trump goes, fuck you, not my debt. Pay your own fucking debt. Literally pay your membership fee. You have a membership fee to be protected by our militaries. The majority of the money is coming from America. It is provided by American weapons with American soldiers. They're literally dying here to protect you while you're yelling at the fucking screen that Trump is not your president. Pay your own fucking bills. Why should America have to pay their bills?
Should I go get the next beer?
Well, maybe I can go get the next bill. Plus, I have the next beer planned in mind.
Okay.
So yeah. So why not? Well, why not have Britain pay their own goddamn bills? What's the Queen doing for me? Nothing. I'm pretty sure Canada's mostly paying our fucking fair share of the protection.
Okay, you can have
Plus, they're goddamn next door.
I hate that last sip. Blech.
Now let Siggy entertain you with her beautiful singing voice, and I'll be right back.
No, we're gonna cut all this out.
Why would we cut all this out?
Because
That's so much effort.
I don't have anything to say.
Sing.
Sing? I don't sing.
You sing all day.
I sing sometimes. I sing a bit of Mariah Carey. But that's only for myself, not for an audience. Except for when you go to karaoke. I do really like karaoke. There's a couple Shania songs that are my go-to songs. And then there's that Diana Ross song that I like singing at karaoke. Although it always sucks with karaoke because all of like the songs that are easy to sing are like slow, depressing songs. And when you're out at the bar and you're having a good time and then someone gets up there and starts singing like who does it? The Jeff Buckley's version of Hallelujah about like, oh, that song. It's such a good song. But about being tied to a kitchen chair and her hair getting cut. It's just so depressing. And it's just like, who wants to sing that at karaoke?
All right,
Okay.
So slowly moving away from this debauchery, I am going to follow up our gossip with the inner eye. So we can have a little bit of clarity.
Have we had this one yet?
No, we have not.
I feel like we have because I like the bottle.
No, we had...
But we didn't like it, but I like the bottle.
No, you
That
like
was
the
a
bottle.
different
This is
one?
Blood Brothers. This is something else. This is the new brewery that we haven't tried. So I don't know what this is going to taste like. So
Okay.
worst case scenario, you get to go upstairs and pick another beer.
Okay. If it comes out brown.
I don't think it should come out brown. This isn't one of those type of beers. What? It says pale ale right on it.
Oh, okay. Wait, what are those ones then? Dark ales?
No, those are... I don't even know what to call them. They're like-
Isn't IPA all pale ale something? What does IPA even stand for?
Indian pale ale. Like, no. Yes.
Indie pale ale?
IPA, Indian pale ale. Pale ale.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have
Whereas all
DIPAs.
the other beers, like the ones that we can't drink anymore, like Keith's and Coors
Lagers?
or lagers, yeah, or lagers, lagers or lagers.
There you go. That's a nice deep orange color. By the way, notice that the lighting is a bit different. We're still playing with the lighting, and since the webcam worked out as well as it did, I just decided to use it now because fuck it, the camera actually cuts out all the time and it's annoying as fuck. So I just use the webcam. One day we'll get either a better webcam or a better camera. Regardless, the better webcam was only going to cost about $80 after taxes.
Really?
So we can have a 1080p widescreen version of it. This one is like 720 and 3:4 ratio, and it's almost 10 years old.
Yeah, no, we can get a second webcam because I need one for my.
You can have this one.
Yeah. Cheers. Boy. So this is our first podcast. Is this our first podcast of 2018?
Yeah, I think it is. And that's why everything's not red. A horrible tint of red. We have
I
some
guess,
lighting.
yeah, we did our New Year's Eve was when we did our last one.
Also, Happy New Year, guys. Welcome to the new year. I don't know if anything's going to change and anything's going to be different, but I have some more news if anyone gives a shit.
What news?
Well, work news. Apparently, I'm not going to be working for the solar company anymore. I got an
And
apprenticeship.
apparently the solar industry is not going to last.
No, most people are saying it's not going to last. Most people are just going out of business because they can't keep up. There's not enough work out there. And there's no amount of money the Canadian government can pump at it to keep people employed properly. But I haven't quit. I did. I put in my two-week resignation, 2-week letter or whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, I'm actually going to do what I actually wanted. That's go be an electrician doing some electrical shit.
Yeah.
Hopefully that works out. God, I hope that works out.
Which means all of the excuses that we legitimize for me to get this
Brand new laptop are now useless.
But I love it. I love it.
Yeah, she's not gonna give it up for anything.
No, I mean, even you see how much I use it?
All day, every day, and it turns into a tablet and everything, which you never use as a tablet.
No, I do actually on the screen, but I've been typing. Hopefully, I'll win this award, and then that will make up the cost.
It won't, but
I really hope we win.
so I have this transitory period between work and no work, so I'm just gonna hang out. For those of you who do gaming or give a shit, I'm going to be doing a video game giveaway. I'm giving away, I think, 5 different games. I still haven't figured out the best way to get subscribers from one channel or to both channels by giving away games. Because just saying I'm going to give away games isn't going to get people to subscribe, is it?
I don't know.
And I need to give people a reason to subscribe to my channel to be able to get these games. Because I also don't want to just give them away for free.
So you're giving away games you don't want anymore?
No, I subscribe to a gaming bundle thing where you pay in a certain amount of money, and they said for the next 12 months you're going to get 5, 6, 7, 8 games a month. And most of the games, if I don't want or I have no interest in, I'll just give away to somebody who might.
Okay. How do you give away a game in the internet?
What they do is they give you a Steam key.
Okay.
And you give that person, and you just give somebody the Steam key, and then they install it on Steam. So
I'm not ready to tell the world, but on one podcast we'll talk about how I got scammed.
one of the podcasts we'll talk about how you got scammed. But until then, we are opening our third eye by drinking this beer, apparently, or at least the magic symbology on the bottle says so. We need to have a more enlightened conversation.
Well, we did talk about the New World Order, so
That is where the symbology comes from. I've been dying to do that's the live stream with a bunch of people about the UFO releases, I guess. Leaked? No, they're not leaks. They've officially come out and released a bunch of information on UFOs and how the government's been keeping track of UFOs for the past forever.
yeah, isn't that like common knowledge?
So here's the thing. A lot of different places actually, a lot of different YouTube channels and different organizations, real or fake, sit around and they talk about and release information about the latest UFO updates or like whatever, and no one takes them seriously because it's not straight out of the government, because it's just random people.
I know.
This actually came straight out of the government, but unsanctioned. So there's a bunch of government officials who are currently working in the government who just went, guys, here's all the information we've been keeping, and there's like a giant stack of things. And they're like, here's
But
all these.
UFO just means an unidentified object, right?
Yeah, but it's also 2018, and they have a bunch of video footage and unexplained things and recordings. This isn't just like paper.
So So is this like there's UFOs flying by, or they're landing on the planet?
This is like they're hard to catch up to. They're hard to shoot down. They're still way faster than any of the craft we have.
Okay, but there's still
hard
no
to get close
evidence
to.
of them like coming down on the governmental evidence of them landing.
No, nothing X-Files-y where they showed up and went, take us to your leader. We like to talk about the human hybridization program.
Yeah.
But there sure saw a lot of conspiracy theories about that one.
Did they ever is there actual understanding of what crop circles are? Like, is there an explanation for them, a legit one?
So there's 2 schools. There's the people who believe crop circles are man-made, and there's the people who believe that crop circles are not man-made. Somewhere in between is the truth. Could be on one side completely.
Are there some that are man-made and some that aren't? Or the some that cannot be man-made?
Here's how the story goes. Crop circles started to appear, and a bunch of people out in England were like, we make them. We'll show you how. And they showed
with some
you.
planks and wood thing.
Yeah, and they stomped them down. And then more and more and more started to appear, and more and more and more, and all over the place. And then they went, well, we're doing those too. And some people said some of these are too big and too complicated and too advanced for humans to have made. The UFO people are saying that there's some kind of interweaving and there's background radiation, and then there's like a whole bunch of different new shit that appears when this happens. Some people specifically go out and find these stocks themselves and see that they've bent, that they're not actually crushed down, they've actually been bent down, and say this can't be done by humans because it literally.
Wait, would that planking method actually work?
To stomp down grass, yes.
To create like pictures?
Well,
how could they?
Okay,
how
so
they need a way to measure it out?
What
like
you do
it's
is
not unlike Art Attack guy.
What you do is you put a stick in the ground, and then you attach a rope to it, and then you walk around in circles of the rope until you end the reach of the rope, and then you made a circle. Because you're just walking in circles until the rope runs out, and the rope keeps your length the same. And then there's more complex signals, and then more complex crop circles. People came out, and more complicated shapes started to appear, and then just a bunch of different stuff. And there's a notorious bar somewhere out in England, in one of the small towns, where all the professional UFO guys hang out, and they basically talk about all the weird things they've done. And
do you ever want to go there?
No. Well, unless I see them make it, I can't possibly believe that they did it. It's okay.
There's no like video of humans making it.
That's the weird part. Is most of them don't make videos of them making it. So they sit around. They claim that they made them, but they're not making videos of them making it. They're not leaving evidence
Like
of
they
them
won't
making it.
reveal the secret of how they make it. They just are saying.
Okay, you remember those drawing things when you had a gear system and you put little gears inside, and then you put a pencil in and you just kind of swirled it around until it made shapes.
Yeah.
Artists sit around and figure out the easiest, best way to make shapes in grass. And then they make shapes in grass, and then they go, I did it. And then look, I'm famous because someone took a picture of it and sent it in the
Well, I
newspaper.
guess that it would be a good way.
It's a graffiti artist, but in crops.
Yeah, I guess. But there's just some that seem to be outside of.
Well, no, that's the thing, is that you most people will be able to sit down and be like, how are we going to create this crop circle? And then create like a grid in math and measure things out and be like, here's what we need to plant our stakes, here's where you're going up to how and like engineer, we have
But didn't all of these come like
marvels.
overnight? Like they would appear just overnight? Like how could...
Some people say overnight. Some people say that, it wasn't there last night because I assume it wasn't.
But you'd see a team of people working for a few weeks to put this together.
You wouldn't see them out in the field. You would see them literally sitting in the room being like, here, 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 here. We're going to choose an arbitrary position, measure out this way, measure out this way, measure out this way.
But the actual implementation could just take a few hours?
Depends on how many people you have. Depends on how you do it. I'm not a professional crop circle maker.
So I'm saying, like, how could they, like, you'd have to, if they would have been, you'd see them out there doing it. It would
Some
take,
people
like,
say
at
they
least...
have. They see lights out in the field at night, and then the next morning
And
there's some
at
stuff
night, come on. That's weird. There's still something weird.
Look, like I said, some people say that they're bent shapes and there's radiation involved. Some people say they see a bunch of people in the field. Some people say that they don't see anything and it just appears the next night. The whole problem is we're working with a lot of hearsay. And the hearsay isn't taking us anywhere.
Okay.
So, where do we go?
This one's better than the last one.
You like this one better? I think this one's much more better than the last one.
I don't know.
But like it's the same thing with the Bigfoot people.
No, the Bigfoot thing is dumb. This one is actually interesting. I don't know what the fascination with a big gorilla or monkey man is.
Discovering it?
No.
What's the whole thing of the Loch Ness Monster?
Even that, like, I don't get... Like, there's big, scary things in waters.
Giant squid. That was recently more and more evidence of it. For a long time, it was a legend, and all of a sudden, there's more and more evidence of them showing up.
Giant squid.
Giant squid.
Oh,
squid big enough to take down whales.
Fuck, it's terrifying. I'm so afraid of, like, the bottom of the ocean.
How about just water?
Yeah, just water in general. I think there was a moment in the Avatar ride where it was like, and my fear like became a reality of a tsunami, and there's like you fly through it and stuff. Like it was so cool, but it was terrifying for a second. This body of water standing up. Oh my god, that's like my biggest fear. Like if I had been in Japan and I'd saw that, I would have. Was it in Japan? Where was the tsunami? Korea? Japan, yeah.
Japan.
Oh my god, there's not, like, it's just terrifying. It's terrifying.
Well, don't run towards it. Run away from it. Run somewhere high, preferably. Somewhere where the water can't get
like,
you.
oh, could you, yeah, like, even thinking about it makes me,
It's water.
But it's the immensity of it just standing about, oh god. It's not terrifying to you?
Sure. But...
And then knowing all of the things that are underwater...
Okay, the things that are underwater and not the things you have to worry about and the things in the tsunami.
I know, I understand that. But then that's the whole other fear of, like, Life of Pi being trapped at sea. Like, that would be another horrible nightmare.
Is this tiger in the...
I think he hallucinates the tiger. I don't remember what the plot of that story is.
The moral of the story is he was a cannibal and he ate somebody and he hallucinated the tiger because of food poisoning.
Or something like that. I don't know. It wasn't that memorable of a story, actually.
No, why is that movie so big then? Why
the book was a big book.
Why was the book so important? Why was the book so...
A lot of people like it. I was never a really big fan. A lot of people like it. The movie was okay. Visually, the movie was really cool. But, like, it's a boring story, so I don't know. Yeah, a lot of, like, I don't know. There's some movies who just don't, like, some stories just don't translate well to cinema. So.
No, I guess they don't.
Some do, some don't. There's some movies or some books that I read and I can see them as a screenplay, like as I'm reading them.
Which ones?
Like Harry Potter. Harry Potter was written in a way that was very adaptable, and the movies actually, I think, were very true. Like that's one of the series that I think were actually loyal to the books.
Lord of the Rings.
I read The Fellowship of the Ring. I don't remember any of it. I couldn't get through Two Towers because it was he's such a excessive wordy writer. Like, he literally describes, like, it's just chapters of them walking and him describing them walking, and they walk and then they ran and then they sat and then they ate and then they rocked. Yeah.
They just ran and walked and sat and ran and walked.
Well, yeah, but in the movie, at least you have, like, the landscape to look at to, like, understand and no, they cut it off. Like, the movie was had to be abridged, obviously. But people who love the books hate the movies. I love the movies, and I think that there's a difference.
It's the Hobbit that they ruined.
Well, they added all of this excessive plot.
Like Legolas. Why the fuck do they need to add Legolas to the goddamn fucking Hobbits?
I don't know. Although he was enjoyable to watch. I still had fun watching the Hobbit movies. They're still okay, but no, it's not the originals. I think, like, it also matters whether you read the book before you see the movie or read the book after. And every movie that I've, like, read the book after, like Fight Club, like, I like the movie way better. Okay. I didn't like the book of Fight Club.
The author of Fight Club,
but he's my favorite author.
The author of Fight Club liked the Fight Club movie better than the book.
Because they did it really well.
Yes, also because they changed it to almost a better story. Yeah,
because they actually made him, his insomnia and that he was Tyler Durden, a plot, like a...
Surprise?
Yeah, where in the book it's not. And so that makes it actually less exciting. In the book, it's way more obvious. Like, he keeps... And you see it in the movie. The movie... Like, the reason that the movie is so good, though, is because the book is so well written. Right? So, like, there's lines, like, they exactly rip off. He doesn't... Like, the dialogue that they use is from the book. It's just that maybe it's, like, some coordination of events get changed around a little bit.
A little bit.
But the dialogue, and, like, he has lines of, like, I am Jack smirking revenge. I am Jack's, like... All of those lines are from the book. I know this because Tyler knows this. So these are, like, hints that happen. But in the movie, it happens later. In the book, it happens, I think, sooner. From what I remember. I have to reread it. I mean, my favorite, I still don't know how to pronounce his name.
Chuck
Palahniuk, but he's my favorite author and Survivor. If we do our own book club, that's one of the books I want to.
Survivor. Well, I'd like to reread that book. That book was actually really good.
Yeah, I want to reread that one again, too. It was really good. That was really good.
I actually liked it better than Fight Club.
Yeah, I did, too. It's a better book. And... The other one that I read 2 years ago, Damned, where he has this this girl that goes to hell who wasn't supposed to go to hell, but she goes to, and then he has his version of what hell is, and it's incredible. It's like whatever you know the thing in what's that show that we're watching, Preacher? Yeah, this book is 100 times better than whatever that touches on. Like, just his ideas of, like, what, like, his descriptions of hell. Like, yeah. that's one of those things that I don't think can be translated because everyone will visualize it differently in some way.
That's possible. Hell is ultimately hard to describe because everyone fears different things. Which is kind of why I liked the Preacher's interpretation of hell, is because it literally replays the worst parts of you. I want season 3, season 4 of Preacher. What season are we on?
I like that show, but it's not like I don't get excited about what's gonna happen next the way I do about other shows.
I don't know. Maybe that show just has a way of subverting a lot of my expectations and a lot of my interests.
It's a good show. It's well written, well acted.
Spoiler alert! In the last season, when Hitler tries to redeem himself by helping him escape hell, what's his name? What's the Eugene.
We're
helping Eugene escape hell. It's like this moment of redeemability where Hitler literally fucking helps a guy who was accidentally in hell escape hell, and in the last moment, just tries to be like a good guy. But the moment they get out of hell, Eugene's like, "Come, let me show you. I got a lot of things to catch up to you by." And Hitler just gets this look on his face and just bolts, just runs away. Like he's ready to go do evil again.
Yeah. Some people don't change.
Most people don't change.
No, people change all the time. That's such a myth.
You don't think it's a myth?
People, all of the actual research has even found that your core personality doesn't form until you're 50.
Core person? What kind of weird research are you reading? I want to see that paper that says your core personality doesn't change until you're...
So in psychology, there is the big 5 personality types. So like introversion, agreeableness, and 3 others that I can't remember, even though I've studied it like 14 times. But there's 5 traits: neuroticism, introversion, extroversion, agreeableness, neuroticism, conscientiousness, and another one that I can't remember. And they're all obviously on a scale, because like most things are on a sliding scale. And you're high or low.
Fat people avoid scales.
Yes, and there's a set of questionnaires that get distributed, and you get ranked high or low in most of these things. And they find that over time, people's rank in these measures change based on age, based on experience, based on profession they end up choosing. All sorts of things actually change where they are. So like, for example, introversion and your level of introversion and extroversion changes over time based on certain circumstances. So during like your younger years when you're in college, you're actually more social and highly extroverted and want to spend time with more people. As you get older, that actually changes. Neuroticism also changes based on certain circumstances. It actually decreases in time. Younger people tend to be more paranoid, more neurotic, more thinking about worst case scenarios, hence SJWs generally being young, whereas older people have more wisdom and have seen things play out in time enough to not like freak out because they now have more experience dealing with things. So all of these things actually change throughout time. So this idea that people, like, even your interests, your taste in music, your taste in food, your, like, all of these things change in and out over time. Like, maybe few elements of your core...
But they can just change based on exposure.
You're changing on a cellular level over time.
Oh, stop being postmodern.
I'm not being postmodern.
You change on a cellular level, and therefore everything changes.
You're constantly changing on a cellular level all the time. Exposures and experience shape your perceptions.
Yes. But not because you change on a cellular level. Okay, sure, absolutely. Your taste could develop to be a little bit more spicy because you literally burn out your taste buds.
Name me one characteristic that you think people never change on. A personality characteristic.
Like, how am I going to be able to answer that? How do you mean people never change on? That's right. This is an impossible question to ask.
What is your evidence that people never change?
My evidence that people never change is that most of the time people get worse than what they were. There's more cynicism, and there's more depravity, and there's more fucking hatred, and there's more of everything. There's rarely a person who's an incredibly hateful individual who becomes a good person. They just become more hateful. Yeah, you can still change, but most people change towards the worst.
I completely disagree.
You completely disagree?
Yeah.
Like, everyone I've ever fucking known has just changed towards something worse.
No, maybe just the time they were with you were at their worst, and maybe you...
No, they changed to their worst. to their worst. The majority of the people I knew started off being mostly optimistic and encourageable and interested, and slowly moved on to only wanting one thing and only one thing, and that one thing being the thing they're worst at, or the thing they portrayed the worst way. Like, I can start naming names and pointing out examples, but that'll just take a really long time for me to edit out all the fucking profanities.
Yeah, I know in certain cases in which you're talking about, but overall, I don't think that that's experience. I just think friendship dynamics also change, and so...
That's right, because when they meet new people, these new people won't know how bad they've gotten since the time we've known them. They'll only know the new them, and then their new them will also continue to change towards the worst, and they'll continue to also either agree with why they're changing towards the worst, or they'll just won't accept it and say, well, this person's kind of getting nuts.
Or just maybe people are changing, and you change, and they change, and the changes conflict, and so therefore the friendship no longer can...
Okay, I'm not saying we're not friends because they've changed towards the worst. I'm saying that they've literally changed, but towards the worst. They don't change the other way. My point isn't that people don't change. I'm sorry if people got the notion that people don't change at all. My point is that people change towards the worst.
I don't think so. I think some people change towards the worst, and some people change towards...
not liars. People just become worse liars, or they become fucking more advanced liars. Every person I've ever known that was a liar has only become a better liar or a worse liar, but nevertheless they don't stop lying.
I mean, again, if people are like actively like narcissistically lying, that's a underlying personality disorder.
Only get worse at it.
Yeah, and if they don't get treated, then yes, if you have a personality disorder,
well, if you want to classify narcissism as a personality disorder,
it is a personality disorder.
Right. But most of the time, it doesn't get treated.
Yeah, and those people will become worse.
And they do
over time.
And
so
they do.
We know, yes, there are plenty of...
And all of society is gearing us to be bigger and bigger narcissists at every step of the way.
But by saying that people don't change, you're actually feeding that world of people are narcissists.
I've already restated my point.
They just don't want to change.
I've already restated my point. It's no longer people don't change, it's people get worse.
No, the narcissistic people get worse.
People get worse. My point...
all people are narcissistic.
No, just people get worse. You know what they say, that's...
I don't think so. I think I got better, you got better.
Better at what?
As a better person. I'm a better person than I was at 23. Age actually makes you better and wiser.
Most people who knew me back then might not necessarily think I got better. They might think I got worse. Because I wasn't willing to give up certain aspects. When I was hanging out with purely liberal people, I wondered why you can't have... what was it? It was the... Fuck, I forgot the word. The one where you're responsible for things. Responsibility? Mm-hmm. Why can't you take responsibility for your own actions? I literally took that into account because most liberal logic says, oh, these people won't take responsibility for their actions and they're fucking horrible people because blah blah blah, and they fucking turn everyone poor and disgusting. And you're like, wait, what? How did they turn everyone poor and disgusting? And then you'd argue with that. And I say, no, people are responsible for their own actions. To the very day that I started being liberal, to the very day I stopped being a liberal, it was people are responsible for their own actions, because you cannot literally brainwash somebody into going out and murdering people, into shooting people, into robbing people. That's not the way you manipulate. Unless you're on the phone with them saying, I'm going to slash your cat's throat or kill your fucking girlfriend, unless you go rob a store, they're not going to go do it willingly. Right? They're not going to go do it willingly. Yes? No? Anything?
Yeah. I mean... There's bad people who do bad things. Most people don't rob stores. Most people don't.
That's not my point. That's not my point. My point is that... Do you know what my point is?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not following you, actually. Do you know what your point is? People are
responsible for their own actions. Most people do not go rob stores because something told them to. Most people go rob stores because they wanted to go rob a store. I'm not willing to give that up as a liberal or as a conservative, that people aren't responsible for their actions. So for the people who knew me as a liberal, that's one thing I wasn't willing to let go. To any argument I've had, people are responsible for their own actions and only their own actions. I'm not responsible for the actions of other people. People choose to act the way they act because they choose to act that way.
Okay, you can still acknowledge that there's certain conditions in which certain behaviors are more common and still say people are responsible for their actions.
What?
There are certain conditions which will make people more likely to be store robbers. Doesn't mean that they're still not responsible for robbing the store.
Okay.
So
the point was that since I wasn't willing to let go of my need to continuously impose
individual responsibility.
Yeah, sure, individual responsibility. Everyone around me who was a hardcore liberal were willing to give up individual sovereignty, and therefore they think I just got worse and worse and slid further into a conservative perspective.
Yeah, so from different perspective, maybe from your perspective you think people have gotten worse, and from their perspective they have gotten better. I don't know, but people change. They change for the worse. They change for the better.
I don't think they got better. I don't think they got better because from what they tell me, they didn't get better either.
Okay. People change. Some change for the worse. Some change for the better. If you're like a narcissistic or have some sort of personality
I'm a worse
problem.
liberal today than I was last week.
Okay,
or the week
but you're a better person today than you were 10 years ago.
That's as arbitrary as you said it was.
Okay, well, that's based on my evidence.
Who am I a better person for? Am I a better person?
Me.
Am I a better person for the black man down the street who I'm advocating for them to get rid of his livelihood, his ability to live on welfare?
Now you're just arguing for the sake of arguing.
Since we already slippery sloped into this whole negation of it depends on who you're a better person for and who you're a better person. No, majority of the time you've gotten worse.
Okay,
you just think I became a better person for you, to you, around you.
Yeah.
Okay, but the majority of the people we know don't agree with that.
No, they do.
Okay, you're right, because we're no longer around them.
A lot of people we are no longer around, but a lot of people we still are currently around. And yeah, I think people change. Some aspects of their personality
we've already established that they do change.
Okay, and I think people change for the better and some change for the worst. It's up to you whether you want to change for the better or worse. How about that? We'll
Absolutely. We'll both conclude on personal responsibility.
Okay,
it is your personal responsibility to determine whether you're becoming a better person or a worse person as a whole.
Okay. And people who refuse to change, then they don't change. There you go. Okay.
All right, guys. So personal responsibility, and I won't take personal responsibility for not having any more beer left.
Okay. I think that's a good place to stop.
All right, guys.
I have to pee.
Thanks for tuning in. Take personal responsibility. Don't drink and drive, because.
Yeah.
I guess I'll see you next week. Bye.